Hello, fellow writers. I'm Lewis. That over there is Tolkien, and you have found the Scripturient Society.
Welcome back, everybody. I just had a little challenge with myself to see if I could take a glass of my wine cooler before it was my turn to say something, and I did it. And you guys would never have known if I hadn't told you
You
and my
ratted
mom
on
hadn't
herself.
called, but I did because I'm proud of myself. Um, Anyways, that over there is Carissa Harlow, aka Catherine, her dark alter ego, aka Lewis, and I'm Ash O'Rourke, aka Tolkien, aka the mother of a 5.5-month-old who, for the first time since sometime in her pregnancy, has finished all of her chores before the sun even goes down.
Oh my goodness, you're catching up. You're
It's amazing.
improving.
I'm improving. My husband has been making dinner. Like, we've been starting to switch off because usually I just make dinner, but he has made dinner twice in the last 3 days. And oh my
Cool.
God, is it a time saver and also delicious? So, anyways,
What
it's
does
been
he
good.
make?
Well, the other night he made, what was it? Oh, come on. Come on, mom brain. I've had mom brain like no one's business. And let me tell you, I think it's worse than pregnancy brain was. I completely forgot what time church was, even though we changed to a new service time months ago. And I
Mm.
was walking out the door as the service was actually starting. It's an hour and 15 minutes away from me. And my mom called and was like, "Are you coming?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm on my way." And she was like, "Are you at your house?" There's no way
It's
are
gonna
you
be
making.
too late.
Yeah. So
Aw.
what did he make the other day? Oh yeah, he made like this like these sliders. He got like Hawaiian rolls and like a 12 pack
Ooh,
and just cut the whole 12 in half. Then he put like ground
nice.
beef and cheese and onion rings and like good stuff on it. And then he baked and he put like the top of the Hawaiian bread back on and baked them. So we had
Cool.
sliders and they were so freaking good. And tonight he made
Sounds good.
like air fried potatoes and chicken with like this like garlic parmesan sauce on it. Super
Ooh,
good. And then we had more
fancy.
leftover Hawaiian rolls, so I let my child suck on one. So he was very
Hmm.
happy about that. He is now sucking on a plastic toy, but he doesn't look nearly as pleased.
I mean, once you go bread, you can't go back. So
I know. Oh God, truer words have never been spoken. Once you go bread, you can't go back.
it is the peak of food
Oh my God.
happiness.
It's
So,
true. It's true. Well, do you want to tell me how your week's been going before I commandeer every
um,
conversation?
no, that's okay. I had a good week. What happened this week? I got a new tub of Aquaphor, which I am addicted to. It's like the size of my fist and like plus a little. And I've
Mm-hmm.
had the same one for 10 years. 10 years it lasted me. I use it as chapstick
Wow.
and like on my nose when you get sick or allergies and you rub it raw
Yep.
or whatever. It's like
Mm-hmm.
a balm kind of thing. And I still have the old one, but I took the old one to work. It's still going strong, but now I have a new, fresh,
Wow.
clean one.
Oh
So
my
I'm very excited about
gosh.
that.
I have to get
I
new Aquaphor
know.
for Riley. It's what I use on his diaper rashes. They put on his little
Oh
bum
yeah.
bum. Yeah.
That also probably works.
He goes
So,
through a lot of it. I cannot imagine because I typically have only used Aquaphor for treating tattoos and then for diaper
oh.
rashes. So,
Hmm.
although for chapstick is an interesting concept because none of my chapstick is
Hmm.
really working. So if my
Yeah,
lips
it
just
is a
start
wonder.
bleeding, that's why. Can I help
Oh
you
no.
or something, Riley?
Bread.
He's like, "Where's my bread? I'll just sit here happily if you let me suck on a piece of bread." I've been letting him suck on like a French fry or like a piece of salami, and he was like, "There's a whole world out here."
So much to discover.
Yeah. But yeah, anyway, so I never thought I would go through as much Aquaphor as I do. So the fact that I have like a giant squeeze bottle and I've gone through
Hmm.
two of them in the last, 3 months. So that's kind of bananas. So the fact that
Yep.
you still have one that you've had for like a decade is amazing.
Yeah. I had it in college. So
Wow,
it's
really?
older than our friendship.
Oh my gosh.
So that's crazy. But yeah, I
Wow.
mostly use it in small doses. So,
Wow, I
but yeah.
love that.
Yep.
Nice.
So that was exciting. I know that's probably not exciting to anyone but me, but it was very exciting for me.
Wow, I mean, same boat though, and like level
Yeah.
of lameness, because I was like, that's amazing. Let's have a 5 minute
It's
conversation about
incredible.
it.
Best news I've heard all month.
Oh God.
Um, and let's see. I mean, really, that's it. That's not a writing update. I mean, I'm just chugging along at work. My dad asked me yesterday, he's like, "What do you hate about your job?" I'm like, "What a weird question." And I had to think about it for a really long time. And my mom's like, "That's probably a good sign."
That is a good sign,
Um,
yeah.
so I didn't really have an answer aside from every once in a while I get a little bored. So it's
Wow.
uh it's good.
That's very nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I
And
love that.
I feel like so did you watch The Big Bang Theory, Ash?
I have watched a lot of it and I enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's this episode when Sheldon is like trying to figure out, I don't know, some scientific thing. So he starts working at the Cheesecake Factory with Penny, and then he like drops all the plates and he's like,
Hmm.
I found the answer. And like monotonous work is supposed to like help your creative brain because it's still working in the background as you do like boring tasks.
Yeah.
So like I feel like not that my job is always boring, but it is kind of repetitive. And I feel like that's
Yeah.
doing wonders for my writing because spoiler alert, I did finish the other book I was working on, and that is two books
Oh
so
my
far, and it is only
gosh.
March. So, I mean, I'm going real strong. Like, I thought the four books that one year in 2022 was a lot, and then I matched it plus a little last year. I'm apparently, I mean, I will have to peak at some point, but it wasn't
You
last
have
year.
just completely, you have set aside your already extremely impressive reading goals for even more impressive writing goals, which is just mind blowing.
Thank you. I'm very
Oh
proud
my
of it.
God.
I mean,
You
it's
should
just
be.
I think it's partially the job. So that's pretty cool.
That
And
is
plus
cool.
I have like other editors around, which I think that vibe is just cool on the daily basis. Like obviously
That
I
is
have you,
cool.
but not on like a daily basis. So
I know. I could be there on a daily basis. All I have to do is ask.
are like are you
I'll
gonna
leave my
stalk me or
husband for
you're
you.
moving?
I'll
Oh,
move for
that's
you.
right.
I'll
I
leave
did
my
have a
husband for you.
dream. I did have
Did
a
you?
dream that you and Riley came to live here
Oh
with
my
me.
God. I love
So
that. That's so
yeah,
cute. Not that I
who
don't
needs
love my
hobby?
husband, everyone, but I do love him, but also I really love Carissa and she really
Mm,
tries to avoid me sometimes. So
mm.
if I lived with you, I could wink at you all day, every day, and you wouldn't be able to do anything about it.
It's true. We that was a situation at one point, and I
Yeah.
survived.
I'm
So
a really good roommate, you guys.
so good. Um,
Now you want you time? I don't think so. This is us time now.
boom, I'm here. Also daylight savings was this past weekend,
Yeah.
and Ash will tell you I forgot until today that that was a thing. So I had to be like, "Whoops, psych, we're gonna have to push the time for you because now you're 2 hours ahead
Yep.
and instead of
It's
one."
part of
So,
why I had like sunlight left before my chores were over. But last year we
ah,
had this too, and I still wasn't able to. So this is still
sorry.
improvement. Uh, but yeah, for those of you who don't know, Arizona just like is like
We
completely
don't do it.
ungovernable when it comes to like daylight
Shh.
savings
Who
time.
needs daylight? We have so much daylight. We don't want anymore.
They're like, no, we're good. And I really love that. I really
Yeah.
love that for Arizona. I wish it
Do.
was always like that. I'm like, why are we following this weird, what feels like arbitrary set of rules? And then people come out with these very, logical scientific answers. And I'm like, no, shut up. I don't want to follow any
Arizona,
more
they get by.
rules. Yeah, Arizona does it just fine.
Yeah. I do love it. It's kind of fun. It's that and we get actually this might just be a Tucson thing. We also get a rodeo break in schools. So we
Yeah,
just
I
get
think
two
that's a
random days in
Tucson thing.
February. Yeah,
Yeah, that's nice. I
pretty
can't
fun.
believe Texas doesn't do that. What the heck,
I know.
Texas?
It's not even like
Such a
sometimes people
Texas thing.
associate Arizona with like cowboys and the Old West, and like I get it, but also not really. Like of all of the
Yeah,
places, it's not the top place. So that's always
no,
funny to me. We
that
have
is
like
funny.
streets named after like James Dean and like all this kind of stuff, which I always find really humorous because I'm like,
That is
I feel
funny.
like that's a Texas and a New Mexico thing.
Yeah.
I
I was
don't
about to say
know.
Texas and New Mexico really feel more like the cowboy states, but I
Yeah,
guess Arizona is looped in there a little bit. They're just
a
like
little.
the
Or
little sibling
borderline.
of like the cowboy
Yeah.
states. Yeah.
I guess like New Mexico feels more rural.
Yeah.
So, and like Arizona is a lot of rural, but Phoenix is a big city and Tucson's
That's
like
true.
decent. So it's just kind of strange. And then Texas has a lot of empty space and big cities. So they get it all.
We've got it all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. So the daylight savings realization was that my computer for the first time in a long time did not switch me over because for some reason it always puts me on like California time. That's like the default everywhere.
You could
And
change that,
so
right?
I do. I changed it
Oh, I
last
see.
year. So this year it was fine. So that was new and fun. So
Oh, that's so funny. Supposedly I
yeah.
can set the clock in my car to change automatically, but I don't trust it, so I change it myself.
My parents do that when like they road trip. So we'll just
Mhm.
sit and watch it and then it'll change, but I don't know how to do it. So
Yeah. Yep, that's fair.
yep. How was your week or double week? Double week?
Double
Last two
week.
weeks. Your double
The
week.
last, what is it, fortnight?
Yeah,
Not
that's
the video
right. How was
game,
your
but a
last fortnight?
fortnight.
Yeah, with the
Um,
NIGHT.
yeah, NIGHT, fortnight. My fort of nights was fine. I'm trying to think about anything specific.
Glowing.
It was amazing. I did replace the radiator fan in my car yesterday all by myself, besides one time that Javi came out and found me. And it was helpful because he has much stronger hands than me. I needed him to like pull two pieces apart. So that was very
Hmm.
helpful because that would have taken me a lot longer. But other than that, I completely like disassembled the stuff that was in the way, was able had to go over the car, not over the car, but like over the engine, right, to get a lot of stuff like undone and like unscrewed. And then I had to go
Hmm.
under the car because this last freaking screw they use to secure the freaking radiator fan, it's the same as a cooling fan for anyone who's wondering. I don't know
Hmm.
why they refer to different things. It's the thing that keeps your engine cool, but also keeps your air conditioning cool, but it's not like an AC fan. That's a different thing.
Hmm.
It's, anyways, it's a whole thing. If you're ever idling and you see the temperature gauge on your car, like, whoop, you might have a problem with your radiator fan. And living in Texas, we can't do that.
Hmm.
It was getting so bad that all of the coolant was boiling out of the thing. So it just looked like my car was smoking.
Coolant shouldn't be boiling. That
Nope.
seems obvious.
Yes,
So,
doesn't it?
yeah.
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 So anyways, I finally fixed that yesterday. And Riley was such a good baby. He sat there in his little outdoor folding baby chair. And for 2 hours, he just sat there and chilled and like talked to himself and watched me work on the car.
Aw.
And then after that, he was like, I'm absolutely done. And I was like, bro, I have like 20 minutes left. I'm almost done. I'm just like putting stuff back together now. And he was like, I'm gonna lose it, mom. And I was
I've
like,
been
I
so patient.
understand. I felt so bad because I was like, dude, 20 minutes and this is done. It's done. I haven't been able to use my car since like last year sometime.
Uh,
So anyway, so I got it fixed. Proud of myself. Then I tested it after Bubba went to
oh.
bed because I was there. I couldn't make him sit there while I also tested it because that would have been neglect at that point. So I'm 85% sure that I completely fixed it. We'll see because all I got to do was test it by idling it and turning up the AC. And
Hmm.
we were perfectly fine when I did that for like 10, 15 minutes. So, uh, anyways, that's my big, I know no one really cares about like my car stuff, but I'm very proud of myself for that. I've done like a
You're
few other
so
car
handy.
things. I feel handy. And it's
Hmm.
funny because I was just telling Javi today, you know, when they have like puzzles that you have to solve like in video games, like jump on this ledge and grab this rope and swing this other, whatever.
Sure.
Yeah, well, it's a thing. And Javi's like, oh, there's these new puzzles in this game I'm playing. Remnant? Is that what it's called? I think.
Sounds like a
Anyways,
game.
yeah, it sounds like it, and we'll just pretend that it is the new game
Yeah.
he's playing called Remnant.
Yeah.
And
Say it with
there's
confidence.
with Remnant and the puzzles that are in there. He's like, they're great, man. I love it. Some of my friends don't like these puzzles, and I was like, yeah, because they suck. I cannot figure them out for the life of me. Like when I play Final Fantasy, when there is a puzzle, I will work on it for about 3 minutes before being like, I give up. I will not
Yeah.
solve this. And I Google it because I know there's no way in hell I will solve it. But if I can touch something with my hands, I can
Hmm.
solve it. I can do like
There you go.
puzzle pieces. I can do stuff with like wood and carpentry, and I can do stuff with engines. That's not to say everything because I am not a pro, but if I had the opportunity to become a pro, I think I would be fairly natural at it comparatively
Yeah.
because it seems very it's I comprehend it a lot better than
Hmm.
things like the freaking video game
Yeah.
puzzles. Anyway,
When I
so
was younger, my cousin, he was like, he's 6 years younger than me, and he's like really into video games. And so he'd try to get me to play with him. And I'd be like, I cannot get past this level. He's like, just do these 3 steps. I'm like, yeah, I am. It's not working. And he's like, well, you have to do it in this way. I'm like, I don't like this. Why is this fun? I just
right.
don't get it. So yeah,
I
I
think
get what
that's
you're
another
saying.
thing that throws me about video games is like there are a lot of rules, and I don't enjoy rules. It's one of the biggest turnoffs of all kinds of games for me. I don't enjoy the
Yeah.
rules. So
I
that's
mean,
part of
because
the
like
problem.
all of the things in video games, well, most of them, not like the murder, but most of them would be fun in real life. Like swinging across a rope would be fun in real life because you can like control it in real time and you don't have to get things
Yeah.
exactly right. You just have to stick the landing. It's
Yeah.
whatever. But in video games, it's so specific because it's in code.
Yeah.
So It's
That's true.
frustrating. It's basically
It's
just I do
true.
it repetitively and then by chance I just get it once. And I'm like, well, I'll never be
Yeah.
able to repeat that again.
Yeah, I
So,
think that's the other thing too is I have zero memory. So even if
mm,
I just completed this puzzle, if I met with
yep,
another similar puzzle, I hear you.
done.
There is, yeah, I won't remember a single thing that I just did. I cannot apply the strategies I just used to a new puzzle like Javi does. However,
No.
when you take something apart, there's only one way it all fits back together. And you just do
Right.
the same thing that you did, but you do it in reverse. So I can do that. I have the capacity for that. So that's why I
Hmm.
enjoy that. So that's my big like fun thing that I did. I also Kendall came over, our
Yay.
my co-host from our sister podcast, That Pretentious Book Club, and we had a writing day, so that's fun.
Yay.
Yep, we do that every now and then. If you were here, we could do
I
it.
know. I know.
When are you coming to see me?
I don't know. But soon. We should also separately do a writing retreat, like two separate things,
Yes,
because I really
100%
want to do
agree.
that. But also,
Same.
like, I just have to get the time. Not that I don't have time, but like from work. So,
Yep.
although I did find out today, I had a meeting with my supervisor, who I really like, by the way. She's great. Um, that if like I want to take a Friday off, I can just work extra the rest of the week and I don't have to take a vacation day. I'm like, that is the
Heck
coolest
yeah.
news of all
I
time.
love that. I've had that before at jobs and it's
Yeah.
wonderful. I love that so much because who wouldn't
Yeah.
rather just do that?
I'm
Um,
psyched. So I might have more vacation days after my cousin's. I almost said cousin's funeral. After my cousin's wedding. Um, I should have more than I anticipated. So
all
we
right.
will see. Yes.
Sweet. Okay, good. And Bubba's old enough I can leave him with my mom now, or I can bring my mom along to watch the baby. So either one of
Oh,
these works. But
yeah.
which would be awesome for her because she's, loves my child. Can't imagine why. It's not like he's the
No.
cutest baby ever. I
Or her
don't.
grandchild.
He is, yeah, he is very urgently, with a very concerned expression, pulling on a crinkle toy that's attached to his seat. Oh, hello.
Like, why is this not coming off?
And I look back and he's like, and his eyes are up and he's got it basically in his mouth. Every time I look back, it's like something else is happening. It's so funny.
Oh.
Oh God.
You
Anyways.
are very emotive with your frustration, so I see that in him. I bet he gets that from you.
Yeah. I do think he gets it from me. And right now he looks so much like me and like my side of the family. It's like
Mm.
it's crazy. Except for his big old cube head looks like his dad's. Javi's very
His
offended by
cupid.
that. I don't know why. They both have cube heads. They're very handsome cube heads, but they have
Yeah,
cube
cupids
heads.
are good.
Yeah, nothing wrong with a cube head. It's what's on the inside of the cube head that counts.
That's right.
Yeah. Anyways, I don't think anything
Uh,
else particularly exciting has happened. I'll say hooray for the postpartum depression has been a lot better in the last like
oh,
week and
good.
a half, which is wonderful because before that it was pretty horrible. So
Yeah.
I'm doing good, which is great.
Is work
And
still drowning you?
that's probably part of it why it's not as hard as I'm keeping my head above water, like barely, but
Mm.
I'm not like completely like water in my lungs anymore. So that's
Hmm.
good. Yeah. I miss my old boss. Not that I don't enjoy my current boss who's still there, but like we had like a manager in between like me and the director, and she and I got
Uh,
along so well. And she was
yeah.
so good at what she did. So I miss her a lot.
Yeah.
But other than that,
Yeah.
I've got good coworkers.
I live in fear that my supervisor will one day decide to leave. Like, she just got married. So I'm like,
Mhm.
please don't have any children and then leave for good. Like, have children if you want, but please don't leave for good because I love her.
That is hilarious. Apparently, that's what people at work were saying when I was gone on maternity leave. They were like,
Yeah.
I really hope she comes back. And I was like, I've
Yeah.
told you all, I have every intention of coming back. Like, I've been
Mhm.
asking, like, what day am I coming back? But literally until the first day I got back. And then, like, the first, like, 2 weeks after that, I feel like people were like, is she gonna leave again? And I was like,
I
who can
I think
afford
like
to?
yeah, I think like if they can, a lot of women are like they leave the baby and then they're like, nah, I want to go back.
Yeah.
So they leave
I
work.
am also
So
extremely privileged that I work from home, so I can have my baby with me. And
yeah,
I have
sure.
coworkers who are pretty understanding. I mean, for the most part, I'm able to keep him out of my meetings, but he is an
Hmm.
infant, so occasionally he makes sounds and there's nothing I can do about it.
Hmm.
Like perhaps right now. You guys always catch him in the evening when he's very noisy because he's been very good all day long.
Aw. He's like, now is my chance for the tantrum and the noise. Not
Yeah,
necessarily
he's
a
like,
tantrum, but
Sometimes, but rarely. Hi, hi. He goes, ha, ha, ha. When you can see him like transitioning from I'm
Yeah.
laughing to like I'm about to get mad.
Yeah.
It's so funny. He's very upset about this crunchy toy that he cannot get into his mouth. It's shaped like an elephant ear. It's like his little seat looks like an elephant, and it's the ears of the elephant. And he can't
That's
quite fit it
cute.
in his mouth, and it's just very upsetting for him.
Aw, I get
Yeah.
it. That would
Anyways,
be frustrating.
yeah, I guess that's been my last 2 weeks. Things are going
Cool.
better. Javi's been making dinners, which is delicious. And we're going to Sherwood Forest Fair. So that's exciting.
Ooh, I assume
It's
that's
like a
Robin Hood
Renaissance
related.
fair. It's,
Okay,
yeah, kind
cool.
of. Yeah, but it's basically like a Renaissance fair. So I'm psyched about that. And Riley's gonna
Nice.
dress like a little baby dragon. So,
Yay.
yep. And
True
I
to
have a
his name.
sign. Yep. And I have a sign for his stroller that says, um, beware of dragon. Think about that for a second. So,
Love it.
yeah.
That's cool.
Hmm.
That's like the way
Anyways.
you should dress your kid up. Like sometimes people dress their kids up, and I'm like, why are they dressed like a diva or like a
Or
ballerina?
like a
But like,
princess. Like really
yeah,
dress them like what they are, a monster.
yeah, exactly. Have
Yeah.
fun with it.
Yes, I completely agree.
Yeah.
Well, is there anything else you want to share about your week?
No,
All right, sweet. Dare I ask if you have any book recs?
I I did read a book, so that was good. It was that third book in the Tamara Pierce series that I've been reading for like 5 months now. And it's just stressful. I don't
Hmm.
here I don't know if this is a recommendation, so I don't know how much detail I should go into, but I think it's very love triangle-y, but
Oh
like
yeah.
not in the Twilight way. It's in a unique way, which is fine, but it's just I'm so stressed about the love triangle that I don't care about anything else that's going on. So
Yeah.
that's which is my problem with love
I
triangles.
say that's yeah, they're
Um
not really your thing.
yeah. So it's not that it's bad. And I think a lot of other people would enjoy it. But I'm kind of disappointed because I heard a lot of really good things about Tamara Pierce. And maybe I just started with the wrong series. Like maybe other books of hers I would like. And so maybe I'll try it like a different series.
Yeah.
Um, but it's just not my thing. It's just not my thing.
Yeah.
So
That's a bummer.
yeah. So not a recommendation. But I mean, maybe if you guys like love triangles, but you're like, oh, they're just so overdone. This is a new one. This is a different kind. So
So
I guess
very
that's a
specific
recommendation.
book rec. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. If
If
you like
you
that sort of thing.
like love triangles and you want a unique one.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah. What about you?
My book rec is a continuation of this is what
Okay.
Ashley's reading right now, and it's still very
Yeah.
good. It's still The First Lie Wins. I remember the name of the author. It's Ashley Elston. And
Hmm.
yeah, okay, you can have my notebook, sure. My child's just taking my notebook. It's fine. Um, it's so good. Still working on it. So far, so good. That's
Nice.
that's all I
Are
got.
you like halfway, quarter,
I'm about
two
halfway
thirds?
through. I'm about halfway through, and here's why I'm not completely finished. I have a show recommendation for everyone. I mean, I have
Ah.
multiple. I mean, just tell me the genre because I've like for the first time in my life been going through a phase of actually watching new shows, which
Mm.
I take as a sign that I've overcome a lot of my trauma because apparently
Exactly.
rewatching shows is
Hmm.
an anxiety thing, which is like a
Yeah.
comfort thing for anxiety. So, very proud of myself that I've been watching new shows.
Good job.
Um, yeah, Death and Other Things on Hulu. Excellent murder mystery. Excellent murder mystery. I actually really I want you to watch it, Chris. And I forget why specifically, but I was like, I need to know Chris's thoughts on this. There's
Where did
something
you
in
say it
there
was?
that's it's called Death and Other Things.
Is it, wait, but what platform? Did you say Hulu or did
Hulu.
I? Yeah, okay. I have Hulu. I can
Okay,
watch that.
Death and Other Things. It's very, very good. And I forget exactly what it is about it. I'll text you when I remember what it is. But there's something that I was like, I remember thinking, oh my God, I have to know what Carissa thinks about this. Like, I
Yeah.
have to know. That's a really
Very
good
cool.
one. Murder at the End of the World, another very good murder mystery thriller type thing.
Hmm.
And then, God, what's the other one? Not Dead Yet with Gina Rodriguez.
There's a theme
Excellent.
here.
Excellent. Oh, that one is like a sweet little like comedy actually. It's
Oh.
Gina Rodriguez. She is an obituary writer at this newspaper. Her life is kind of falling apart, but she starts basically being able to like see and talk to the ghosts of the people whose obituary she's writing. And it's very funny.
Oh. Interesting.
Yeah, it's very funny. It's very cute. It's like kind of like sitcom-y. It's the chick who played Jane the Virgin, except that she's like the polar
Mhm.
opposite personality. Like she's just a mess. And it is so, so funny and well written. It's based on a book. I believe the book is called Confessions of a 40-something-year-old F up or something like that.
Hmm.
It's something like that. I forget. It's in the beginning of each episode, but I've been watching that also as it comes out, and it is so good. And Animal
Cool.
Control. If you want another sort of like The Office, Parks and Rec type thing.
Hmm. I've
Animal
heard good things about
Control.
that one.
Very funny. Um,
Cool.
so those are some of my show recommendations, but that wasn't even what I was gonna start with. Oh yeah, The Newsroom. Have you watched
I
The Newsroom?
have not watched The Newsroom.
The Newsroom on Hulu? Question mark? Pretty sure it's on Hulu. It might be on a couple different platforms. This is not like a recent show, but this was a show
Mhm.
my mom, I guess, started watching. Oh, Ted Lasso. That's another good one. That one's on Apple TV. The new Ted Lasso, the show. Very,
Mhm.
very funny and sweet and heartfelt. And I didn't think it would be my kind of show, but it's very cute, very funny.
Oh, cool.
Uh, anyways, but back to The Newsroom. It is so weird because it's basically like following like the lives of these people who work in a newsroom during like these like early 2000s, like all of these big events. And it's weird because some of them like it's all real events. Of course, the stories like that they're telling about like the people in the newsroom, those are fictional, but it's
Mhm.
weird because they'll be like showing like real footage from an event that happened. And so far in the
Mhm.
series, because I'm at the beginning, it's like stuff that I don't remember. Either I was too little or maybe not born yet. I'm not quite sure.
Mhm.
On a lot of them because I listen my what do you call it? Current events. I've never been great at those because of the whole
Yeah.
memory problem. But it's still really interesting because even the ones that I'm like, I don't think I remember this directly, but I do absolutely remember people talking about it and reacting to it.
Mhm.
So it's really weird because it's stuff that we all lived through, but it's
Mhm.
like this story of like the people who tell the story. And I love it
Right.
because, and I'll go a little political, it's not really political. I'm a libertarian for the most part, little L libertarian. So a lot of the time I'm
Mhm.
a libertarian. Uh, and it's great because basically, like, they're kind of in the middle on a lot of things. And the
Yeah.
newsroom is awesome because it's not Republican and it's not Democrat. It's not necessarily libertarian either. It's just like,
Right.
it's crazy. It's not
Yeah. It's not
political.
trying to be anything in
It's not
particular.
trying to be
It's
anything.
just, yeah.
The whole thing is the newsroom is based around the staff who are determined to tell the truth, nothing but the
Mhm.
truth. They're not going to skew it. And basically, they're getting like kind of eaten alive by the
Mhm.
rest of the industry for refusing to pick a side and just delivering the
Yeah.
facts.
I
And it
mean,
is so
reality.
good. Yeah. Yeah, reality. There are some things that they say, like in the first episode, where I was like, uh-oh, well, that already
Uh,
happened.
yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, super, super good. So heavy, heavy show recommendation. The Newsroom. The writing is also wonderful. And at the end of each episode, there's like a little bit like from the person who wrote it, directed it, produced it. I don't really remember what his
Mm,
role is, but he basically talks about the inspiration for that episode. So
right.
it's very cool. Yeah.
Nice.
So two recommendations, that and then my ongoing recommendation for The First Lie Wins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
What about our word of the week?
Our word of the week. For some reason, I
Okay.
thought I had already said this one. So, I mean, Ash won't remember if I have, but
Nope.
I don't think it's a repeat. Um, Scurryfunge. 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 And it is a hasty tidying of the house, typically for sudden company,
Oh my God,
which
I'm such a scurry
relatable.
funger.
Yeah,
I'm a total scurry funger. It doesn't
I
even
did
matter if I
think of
make my
you.
list in advance. Did you?
Yeah, I thought of you. I'm like, this is an Ash word. I bet she does this.
I do. I absolutely do. We have people coming to stay with
Mhm.
us this weekend, and I already put a list on Friday on the chore chart on the refrigerator
Mm.
because, yeah, I'm one of those. It's just me and my husband and my 5.5-month-old who can't read, and I put
Yep.
everything up there. And it doesn't matter. I'm still going to scurry funge. It doesn't matter
Yeah.
that I already have it all planned. I'm a total scurry funger.
Yep.
I love
I like that
this.
you
I didn't
turned it
know there
into a
was
noun.
a word. Oh
I know, isn't it
my
great? And it
God.
it definitely feels like the right word. Like it you can
I
feel
am
Scurryfunge.
I'm no longer gonna have a to-do list. I'm gonna have it's just gonna be titled Scurry Fungery.
Scurryfunge.
And that's what it
Yes.
is. Bless you. Scurry Fungery, Riley. What do you think about that? He's like, I'm
It's
not
great.
contributing to your scurry fungery right now, mother. Or ever. I'm gonna pretend that I
I'm
don't know what you're
adorable
talking
all the
about.
time.
Yeah. He's like, I'm not gonna help clean because I don't have to. I'm too cute for that.
It's true.
Scurry Funge, huh?
Yeah.
Scurryfungery. That feels like something that Algernon would say from Importance of Being Earnest. I feel
Yes.
like he would say scurryfungery.
feel like maybe Dandelion would say that too from
You're correct. You know that those are
Witcher.
very similar characters.
Yeah.
Extremely similar characters now that you mention it. That is
Yeah.
hilarious. Oh my goodness.
Oh,
Your name was
good
almost
stuff.
Algernon Riley. I tried to convince your father to
Really?
go for Algernon. Shocking
Like,
he didn't.
seriously you did, or you were mocking him?
It was honestly a little bit of both. I liked the
Oh,
names Algernon, Aeschylus. These are names that I enjoy. Aeschylus from Romeo and Juliet, although I hate Romeo and Juliet, but I admire Aeschylus, the prince in it. He's very good
yeah.
at his job.
Yeah.
Just everyone else sucked. So these are some of the
It's
names
true.
that I considered. Hinkle, just because I thought it was funny.
Nice.
We settled on Dragon Slayer for the middle name. He did agree
Yeah.
on that one. So
Yay.
yeah,
That's,
but
that's probably a good
Algernon,
compromise.
he was almost Algernon, Aeschylus, Dragon Slayer, O'Rourke. What a
Oh my
shame.
gosh, Riley, you dodged a bullet.
What are you talking about? Algae? That's such a cute little nickname.
It's a
Algae.
fungus, or
Algae's
whatever
not a
algae is.
fungus. It's
It's
like
food.
yeah, it's like a seaweed type thing, I think.
I guess it's probably like the opposite of a fungus. Doesn't it like keep everything alive or something?
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
That's right. My son keeps everything alive. You know what? We're just gonna change your name right now. It's fine. I'll just forge your father's signature and we'll just get it changed
Mm,
on your birth certificate. It's fine.
yeah, he probably doesn't know it yet, so it won't cause any
He
trauma or
doesn't. We've
anything.
been laughing, so we'll be like, Riley, 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 hey Riley.
Ah,
He doesn't know his name. He likes to be talked to though. He's grabbing
ah.
for the microphone. He does
Oh,
respond occasionally to my son because that's what Holly calls him.
oh
He
my
always
gosh,
never calls him Riley. That is my
my
headphone cord.
son.
Thank you. He'll always go, "Hi, my son," or "my son," and so sometimes he'll like look at him when he says that,
Ah,
but never when
that's
we say
cute.
Riley. Hey, Riley, Riley. He's like, I don't know what
Like,
that
I
sound is
don't.
you're making.
Am I supposed to say something in response?
Yeah. He's like, "Look, just let me sit here and chew on your headphone cords. That's all I want." Scurryfungery. All right. Is there anything else we want to say about word of the week, or do we want to move into the theme?
Move into the theme, I say.
Yeah, I say.
It
I
made me
say.
sound like I was being too controlling. Like, I'm gonna take over now. So
In your
that's just
very
my
sweet
opinion.
voice. Here you go. We move into the theme. I don't want to be controlling, so we move into the theme. I say. I say. Let's move
You're
into the
allowed
theme.
to disagree, but I say.
Oh my God, you're so funny. That's
Oh,
hilarious.
yeah.
The theme.
Yeah. Okay. I don't really know how to describe this theme. We're basically going to be talking about different kinds of keyboards,
The
which
clickety
sounds
clacks. The
weird. That's
clackety
right.
clacks.
The clackety clacks. And that sounds so weird, but basically as writers, we type a lot, I bet. So we're going to talk about like the implements you use to write,
Yep.
if that makes sense, and some kind of fun facts and weird things about them. So,
Yeah.
typewritery, keyboardy lesson episode. Um
Yeah.
slash lesson.
Yeah.
Um yeah. All right. Where should I begin? Should I just begin?
I mean, do you want to begin with the original implement? Like the
Yeah.
notebook that we all have billions of?
That's right. The notebook. I have one here. Riley was chewing on one just a second
Yep,
ago.
I have one
Or
here.
still.
That's
Yeah,
correct.
I do love notebooks. I mean, here's the thing. Do you think many people, you guys could weigh in on this if you want. Does anyone still write by hand when they're writing books?
Yes.
Because I
Oh,
remember when I was younger, I was, obsessed with J.K. Rowling, and
yeah.
she wrote all the Harry Potter books out by hand and then
What?
transcribed them into her computer.
I did
Because
not know that.
because she wrote them at like some cafe or whatever, and
Uh-huh.
she wrote them on like napkins and then like on eventually when she had enough money to buy a notepad, like on notebooks and stuff. And I always thought
Yeah.
that was so cool. And I do hear that some people say they still do that. And so when I was younger, I used to do that. And I would just have a notebook and I'd be like, great, I'm gonna
Interesting.
write it in this notebook. And I just can't do that anymore because I type so much faster than I write.
Yep.
But I wonder if it is helpful to be forced to write slower. I don't
I don't
know
know.
because you
I have
process
not
better.
written, I mean, I still use notebooks for all kinds of like brainstorming, and
Mhm.
like outlining and things, but
Yeah.
I don't, or like stream of consciousness writing, or just journaling. But for
Right.
actually writing a book, I have not tried that in a really long time. I definitely used
Mhm.
to. Oh, I'm leaking milk. Interesting. Not that you
Fascinating.
all needed to know
Anyway,
that, but I feel like it's blood in the water. I'm like, no, he's gonna smell it.
tragedy's on the way.
He has been a little shark lately. I've been laughing because he acts like a little shark when he eats. Yeah, look how happy he is. Happy little shark. Anyways, I have not done that in a long time because I also can type much faster than I can write. And my
Mhm.
problem is maybe this isn't everyone. I could see a benefit. I could see a benefit to writing because it's slower than typing, but I will lose my train of thought. If I don't get
Right.
the idea down when I have it, it's gone.
Mhm.
So for me, typing
Yep.
has become like imperative.
Yes.
But if that's not a problem for you, maybe writing by hand does offer, an opportunity to really think more about specific words or phrasing. Or maybe I could utilize it more and write like individual scenes to work into my books, which is something
Mm.
I've been trying lately with the whole trying to write
Yes.
with a child because I can't really write the big chunks at once. So I'm like important
Yeah.
scenes I've just been like working on their own, which has not typically been my style before. But I could see maybe something like that I could potentially use a notebook for.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I've done that before. Like, when I wrote a couple novellas last year, I like started them in my notebook. I don't know, I just like lose, like you said, my train of thought, or I lose my motivation almost. So then I just transcribe them into my computer
Yep.
and then I finish them that way. But I
Yep.
do bet it's like kind of like you've talked about with your free write, that you can't go back and change things. So it forces you to keep going instead of going back and editing.
Yes.
So that's probably a big plus side to doing it that way.
Yeah, I completely agree. So
Yep.
notebooks, the original Clackety Clacks.
Still awesome. Still good for note taking. Still
Absolutely. Still good for
potentially
collecting and
good
looking
for,
at and saying, someday I'll
I
put
know.
something in that.
I know. And like, even if you do, like, it would be kind of cool to have a series of notebooks with your very first draft of all your books in them.
Right? I think about that too.
So, yeah, that's a pretty cool thing to have that I don't
Yeah.
have. I have
Yeah, I don't
planning
have that
notebooks,
either.
but yeah.
Same.
So, anyway,
So next up,
next up.
just the normal laptop, maybe? I mean, slash
I mean,
desktop. Is there any difference?
no, I mean, I was thinking typewriter, but I don't
Oh,
really have anything to
typewriter.
say about a
You're
typewriter,
correct.
except that
Except
it will
that
come
they're
up later in a
awesome.
fun
They're
fact for me,
fun.
but they are amazing.
Yeah,
I do
there
love
are
them.
electric typewriters,
Hmm.
which are the more recent ones. There are the very old ink typewriters, which are awesome, but very hard to find ink cartridges for. So just know if that's something that you're
Right.
getting into and it's not an
Hmm.
electric typewriter, you will have to somehow track down the ink cartridges, which is a challenge.
Yeah.
Um, but definitely fun. And also kind of has that similar thing of the free write, which makes sense because free write is a
Hmm.
digital typewriter that connects to the cloud, which is really nice. But you
Hmm.
can't, it's very difficult to go back and change things and erase things. So it has
Yeah.
that same sort of, element that the notebook has, except that you can type faster because it's still
Hmm.
a keyboard. Although maybe you can't type as fast as you can on a laptop because typically the keys are raised even on like a newer typewriter.
Hmm.
Um, but I feel like I
Yeah,
might as
that's
well in
true.
that realm bring up the other types of typewriters, which is these days the free write, which is
Woo.
awesome. And I got this a few years ago for Christmas for my husband, which is so sweet. I wanted one for years. Before these
Mhm.
existed, I followed like the betas. Like I was so into this. This is the free
That's
write.
nice.
I know. If you're watching
Yeah.
on YouTube, this is the free write. It
Yeah.
is obviously not charged if you can read the screen. I'm trying to like show you, but
I know.
the green
Like
screen
we
is like
see like there it
there we
is.
go. Yeah. This is not the free write travel edition. This is the original free write. And basically
Unfortunately.
all you can see at a time is like on the little bottom screen, you can see like battery, word count, that kind of stuff if you want to. Otherwise, you can change that to show nothing or to show your Bluetooth connection. And
Mhm.
basically, or not Bluetooth, your Wi-Fi connection. And basically via Wi-Fi, it does save to its own device. So you don't have to have Wi-Fi to use it, but you can also, it syncs, that's what it's called. It syncs to
Mm.
Postbox, which is
Yeah.
this just website that will store your stuff for you. And you can sync that to Dropbox if you want to. I usually just go into Postbox and I copy and paste it into a Word document. So I can, I'll work on a little bit of it on my free write, then maybe I'll use my laptop, then I'll go back to free write. But you can go back to review stuff, but it's very difficult.
Mm.
So it has that same thing. And what's wonderful about it is it does not use paper, it does not use ink. So you don't have to worry about running out of those things. But it does
Mhm.
have the type of screen that like a Kindle or a Notebook has.
Yeah.
So even in direct sunlight, you can type on it. So that's great. So if
Mm.
you're someone who's like, I want to write outside, but I write too fast to really get
Mhm.
anything out of writing in my notebook, which has been my problem before, FreeWrite
Mhm.
is an excellent solution for that. And there are less expensive ones now because they've been out for a little while.
Mhm.
You're still probably looking at about $250 for a less expensive one. Um, and then I guess I can launch off of that into a travel version, which is still a travel version of the typewriter. But that one actually
Mhm.
has a slightly bigger screen, but the whole thing is smaller. It's like yay
Yeah.
big probably, and it just flips open. And I really want one too, because it's
Mhm.
great for travel, for writing wherever you go. And the
Yeah.
screen is still big. It's still a full-size keyboard. It just folds in half. Otherwise, it's the same thing. It's just a, digital typewriter. Super, super awesome. But I think those are like very expensive starting basically. I think about 500. So
Mm.
very expensive.
Yeah.
And not to just keep going, but I'm gonna keep going into the next type of thing that I've started using because it started with the free write. I
Yeah.
went from I love the free write, it's so wonderful, and I do, to okay, it's a little too bulky to carry around with me, even just around the house all day long. If I'm just going to go from room to room and I'm multitasking and it takes up a lot of space, so maybe I'm sitting somewhere I don't have somewhere to like set it down. So I was like, okay, the free write traveler, it's time. And I still am going to get it at some point. No, it's very expensive. So it's not the time for me. At some point it will be,
Yeah.
but it's not. So I was like, what is an alternative I can do? So
Mhm.
I found for $30 this nifty little fold open keyboard. If you guys are watching on YouTube, you can see
Dun,
all
dun,
this. If not,
dun.
you just have to listen to me get farther from the microphone. It is, come back, screen, and
You're
here,
invisible.
it's a folds closed
See, it folds.
keyboard. See, it folds. Anyways, it's wonderful. It fits in my purse, which
Mm.
is amazing. So it's a great way to take with you places you don't need anything but this and your phone. So it's like ultra compact, ultra portable. So if you want like to go places and write, or you never know where you're going to be struck by, the idea to write, or maybe you're going to have time to write, or you're not sure if you'll have time to write, but you might. This is a great solution. It's $30, and you can if you have Microsoft Word, you can download that on your phone and log into it for
Mm.
free and just open it there and use it. So that's how I use it. I just connect it with my phone. It also connects to tablets and things like that. There's a lot of versions too. You don't have to have the version I have. Mine has a trackpad. I will say the version I have, which I got the cheapest one I could, the trackpad does not work basically. But that's okay because I'm not really using it for that anyways.
I don't need it, so it's cool.
Yeah, I don't need it, so it's fine. And it was $30, so cannot really complain. You can hear my child grunting probably. Um, what? What? Mommy's talking about her keyboard. Is that funny? That's so funny.
Keyboards are
That's so funny.
hilarious.
She was like, that's a good one, Mom. Wow. You're so entertained suddenly. Here, do you want to click a clack at the keyboard? Here, you want to clicky clack like Mama? He has no
Oh.
idea what to do with this. Here, click.
Like, do I
Oh,
put
there
it
you
in my
go.
mouth?
He's like, if only I could. It's too big. But anyway, so this is a great tool
Mhm.
for on-the-go writing. The reason I found it was because I wanted the free write travel, could not afford it, was looking up how to write as a parent because it is a whole new challenge to try and get any significant writing done with a child who may need me at any point in time, along with all of the farm stuff and chores, whatever. But I
Right.
can't use that as an excuse. So it means I have to find a new way of doing things. And I came across a blog of this woman who used her free write travel and said that she would just carry it with her around the house all day. And if she
Mhm.
plopped her kid in the crib and like was waiting for him to fall asleep, she would just open up her free write and type for a few minutes. Or if she had water boiling on the stove, she would just, while she's waiting for it to boil, stand there and type for a few minutes. So just taking like little chunks of time, which is my nightmare. And I have said for many
Right.
years that I cannot write like that. However, this gives me the best chance at being able to do that, this little fold-up
Yeah.
keyboard.
You do what you
So,
got to do.
yeah, and I will say all of the writing, not all, but almost all the writing that I've done on my new book has been on this. So,
Mhm.
yeah. So anyways, that is what led me to this, which this is not a typewriter. Like free write and free write travel are still essentially typewriters. This is not. You still have the
Mhm.
potential for distraction because you're using your phone. However, it is harder to use the phone when you have it like
Yeah.
set up on the thing and you're typing on it. Yeah, you want to suck on the keyboard, you weirdo? He's like, this looks like a
Anything.
good teething toy. I think I'm gonna
Oh no.
do it on it. Oh goodness. So those are some of my favorite and current writing utensils, which is a very
Yeah.
long rant. So
No, it's good.
thank you for sitting through it. But this is
Of
what's been on my
course.
mind lately.
Yeah. I mean, it is like as life goes on, because we're so old, you have to
We
like find different
are.
ways. I know. You have to find like different ways to make it work. So that's like a good way to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So cool.
Yeah. What
I didn't
about
really add a lot to that conversation,
yeah,
but
what kind of
yeah.
writing utensils do you like, prefer, slash want to try?
Yeah. So I just use my normal Mac computer. And I have been thinking lately, so like when I go to my doctor's office, all of the check-in ladies now have really fun keyboards. Have you seen this? Like they have like
No,
the external keyboards that are like bright blue and they have like the fun circular, yes, like that.
I have one of those. I
Oh my
love
gosh, I
them.
want one.
They
I
are
want one. But
fun.
okay, it looks so fun and I'm so excited about it. And I saw one, I saw one on this ASMR video the other day
Of course
and
you
it
did.
was like it's rainbow and it will light up rainbow whenever you click a key. So like it's not constantly lighting up, it's just as you type and I'm like that is my dream. So I don't know, I want to find one like that,
Maybe you
but I'm very
should.
excited. Okay, the problem is I don't use a keyboard now. So I'm like, I would have to switch over to that, which
Yeah.
if we move soon, my new desk might allow me to do that. So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
So I might be doing that. And that's just like a fun, like mix it up kind of thing
Yeah.
because I mean, I am getting writing done. And the laptop is of course so convenient because I just take it to work with me or I take it wherever I need to go. Um,
Yeah.
but I take it to coffee shops now. That's a new thing I do. Am I
Yeah.
blurry?
Yeah. There
Sorry.
you go.
Anyway, um, I've taken a couple days now and just gone to a coffee shop and like sat there for a couple hours to write, which is
Yeah.
something I never thought I would do. And it's actually pretty cool because it's just
It
that
is.
change
Yeah.
in scenery, which I can't do with a keyboard, but maybe that would, I don't know, spark some creative juices. I don't know. I just didn't know.
Yeah.
I've been noticing them in a lot of places and it's very fun.
Yeah.
So
And you can get a monitor stand to put your laptop on so that you have more room
yeah,
for your keyboard. That's what I do. And
that's what
part
I
of the
should do.
reason I got this keyboard was because I'd like to keep my nails a little bit longer. Not right now, because now it's
Mm-hmm.
like gardening season and
Yeah,
it's
mine are long.
fixing car season. Yeah, you're so long. Uh, and the thing is, like with some, like the longer your nails are, like with certain keyboards, even on typewriters, and especially on like laptops and desktops,
Mm-hmm.
with like the square
They
shaped
catch.
keys can, yeah, they
Mm-hmm.
catch. So I got these circular keys, and let me
Yes.
say, world of difference. My nails don't catch on them, which is very
Gosh,
strange.
I never thought of that. That's so true. But like
Yeah,
you said like before, like the raised keys versus the flat keys.
yeah,
I tend to think I like the flat keys, but I almost think maybe the raised ones would be better because I wouldn't catch as much because it kind of gives a place for my nails to go that's
it
not the
does.
key.
It
So,
does. But the
hmm
problems with the square, so that's originally why I tried like square raised keys on one of my
hmm
mom's old typey types. I suddenly forget what the keyboards.
keyboard.
Um, literally been
That's the
saying it like
word.
a million times. Keyboards. And the raised ones were harder than the flat ones because my nails did have space to go down between them, but they were still catching on the corners of all the
Mhm.
keys and hitting them. So, you know, enter, see and enter the circle keys, and they are
Yeah,
amazing. They're raised, so
that
they're
does sound
fun.
cool.
My husband hates them. They're very clackety clack, and it's
Oh, I
wonderful.
love that.
I
That's just
know.
an extra bonus.
It really is. It's so
Yeah.
delightful.
Oh, so cool. So yeah, I think I might get one of those when I move to my new desk. Because I'll have space for it and everything. Right now my desk is very crowded, so I have no room for it.
Yeah.
But yeah. And then there's like this kind of weird nerdy thing I want to talk about because it's keyboard related, and that is the Dvorak keyboard. Have you ever heard of this?
No.
Aside from my little blurb in the document we use to
Yeah,
plan
and I
episodes.
still didn't understand what it was. I saw
Yeah.
it and I was like, that's why I copy and pasted. I was like, I have no
Yeah.
idea what she's talking about.
So, like on a normal computer or a normal keyboard, you have the QWERTY format, QWERTY across the keys,
Yes.
right? That's the
Yeah.
order. So, fun fact, if you're ever curious, like why that's why the letters are in that order. It's because they were designed for typewriters, and that order means that the way that people typically write and the letters that typically happen together would not jam the typewriter. So,
Interesting.
yeah, so I thought that was fun. Um, yeah, so it just minimizes jams in the mechanical typewriter arms. So, I mean, outdated, but we still use it.
Yeah.
But that's the reason. Um,
Interesting.
but there are other keyboard styles where the letters are in different places. And I did not know this until a couple months ago.
I'm not
And the
sure how I feel
Dvorak,
about that.
like, I know it's
I
the
would
second
not be
common
fast
one.
enough.
Well, okay, so I'm gonna go into this. But anyway, so the first row, the numbers and the symbols are still the same, but the first row, instead of like the QW, is you have like the quotation marks and the apostrophe, and then like the comma, the period, and then it's PYFGCRL, and then some more symbols. So it's just like completely
Interesting.
different. Home row is all the vowels together. So AOEUI, and then DHTNS, and then all of the other ones are below. And basically, it was designed to keep your fingers as much as possible on home row. So you're not moving. So those are like the most common letters on home row. And
Hmm.
so the idea was this guy, his name is August Dvorak. He like studied touch typing, which I think is an interesting career field.
What a
Um,
nerd.
yeah, basically. And he designed it to be more ergonomic and to create fewer errors because it requires fewer finger movements, and the finger movements are more rhythmic. So the idea behind the QWERTY keyboard that he didn't like is that it is awkward as many common letter combos use the same finger. So like ED, which is very common, obviously, if you're writing in past tense, you use your
Yeah.
same finger, and that
Yeah.
slows you down because you have to move it. Or it emphasizes your left hand instead of your right hand because most people are right-handed. And that is so true. Like
Interesting.
there are times at work, there are certain words like addresses. I use the word addresses a lot at work. I can just do that with my left hand. I can be doing something else with my right hand, but it's
Yeah.
weird to kind of emphasize the less dominant hand
Yeah.
because you're obviously going to be a little faster with your right. And
Interesting.
then also he didn't like that you have to move so much from home row. So the Dvorak, he like studied people and he watched people type in slow motion and like looked at the most common letter combinations and
Why do I
everything.
feel like he doesn't
Um,
have many friends?
I know, I mean, he did it with his brother-in-law, so maybe they were friends. I don't
There you
know.
go.
But I appreciate the extraordinary amount of effort put into something so silly.
Yeah, I
But
completely
anyway.
agree.
He wanted basically, as you're typing most of the time, for you to alternate hands because then you can get into a rhythm and be a little more quick.
Yeah.
Um, he wanted the most common letters to be on home row, the least common letters to be on the bottom. So, like, bottom row is Q, J, K, X, B, M, W, V, Z. Oh, hey, BMW's in there in a row. That's interesting. So it's all
Hmm.
like, all the weird, like all the high point Scrabble letters are there on that bottom row.
All the high
Um,
points Scrabble.
yeah. And it prioritizes the right hand. So you're basically using your right hand more than your left. And I thought this was interesting. It's called inboard stroke flow. So like if you're tapping your fingers on the table, right? You
Hmm.
typically start with like your ring finger. Well, you guys probably start with your pinky finger. Mine is really short. Um, but you go from ring finger to index finger or pinky finger
Yeah.
to index finger, right? Now you
Yeah.
don't go the other way. And if you try to do it the other way, it's hard.
Ooh.
So
Yeah.
his idea was you design the keyboard so that most words go from the outer edge of the keyboard in, and so you can be faster that way. And
Interesting.
yeah, isn't that interesting? So
Now
that's
I
kind of
want to
how he
try it.
designed it. I know. I'm
Can you
like,
buy these
this is what
keyboards?
you can, and your computer is set up, you can switch it over to
Hmm.
read that keyboard instead of the QWERTY keyboard. Um,
Interesting.
but I'd never heard of this, and it's so interesting. Um, so anyway, he did a bunch of studies, and this is kind of there were a lot of feuds, it seems, in the typewriter community. Um, so
Oh
he did his
God.
own studies, and people were like, "You're biased." Then this other guy did studies during World War II, and he was like, "It doesn't matter." And everyone's like, "But you hate Dvorak, so you're probably just biased against him."
Oh
Which
my
I think is really funny.
gosh. That
There was
is
all this
so
drama going on in
funny.
the
Oh
typing
my
community.
God.
Um, but one study showed that Dvorak takes 1/3 the amount of time to learn as QWERTY, which is makes sense. But
Interesting.
most studies that they've done show that you are not faster at either one, that if you're equally proficient, you have the same speed.
All right. Well, then I'm not
Um,
switching because I'm
I know.
afraid that much like trying to learn Italian and Spanish at the same time, I will lose my skill
Yes,
for QWERTY if I try and
exactly.
learn the other one.
Exactly. That's my worry when I like learn another language. I'm like, am I gonna forget English? So, but here's
Funny.
something that's interesting. There have been no studies on it, but a lot of people have claimed that if they suffer from things like carpal tunnel or like other strain related induced injuries, the Dvorak
Interesting.
keyboard helps relieve some of that pain because you're moving your fingers
In a
much
different way.
less. Yeah,
Yeah.
well, and much less. So it's like
Yeah.
only you're only moving your fingers at 63% of the time. So you're cutting down basically by like 40% of your movements, and that
Wow.
can help relieve some of that pain, which
That's
I thought was interesting.
interesting. That is
Um,
interesting.
yeah. So I part of me wants to try it and just see what it's like. It's weird though, because like the period is up top and on the left. And I'm like,
Yeah.
that would be the hardest one to get used to for me. That's
Oh,
so
that's
weird.
weird. Oh, I don't like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Mm.
Um, but it like they had all these percentages where it's like 70% of the time on the Dvorak, you're just sticking to home row. And it's only like 20% of the time on the QWERTY keyboard. Because again, it was designed for typewriters to not jam, not for ease or speed.
Wow.
So anyway, and there are
Interesting.
others. There are other English, like obviously this is for English, and other languages, which is also something I never really considered, but like Spanish speaking keyboards exist. Not Spanish
Yeah.
speaking, but you know what I mean? Like other languages would have
Yes.
different alphabets,
Yeah.
which is so interesting. But in English, there are like, I think 5 different keyboard formats, and we just all stick to the QWERTY keyboard because basically it was the original, so the typewriter wouldn't jam, and no one
Yeah.
wanted to learn another method unless there was a really significant reason to.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Interesting. Oh,
yeah,
what's
I thought
what
it was so
fun
interesting.
facts?
I know. I find it very
Interesting.
nerdy and fun. So
Nerdy QWERTY.
yeah. So
That's
now
funny.
I want to get like a raised circular Dvorak keyboard and see if I can learn it that way. That's my goal
Interesting.
in life.
I wonder if you should like time yourself and see if your
Yeah.
time specifically is any faster.
Hmm. I should.
Interesting. Hmm.
But yeah. So that's fun. It's a
Nice.
fun thing. But yeah, if you guys have any kind of carpal tunnel injuries, maybe that would help.
Yeah.
Just a suggestion.
Dvorak. It sounds like a
Yeah,
sports car.
I
That's
know.
funny.
I think I'm saying it right. It's Dvorak, and it does not look like it should be Dvorak, but that's always how I've heard that word pronounced. So
Interesting. I believe
I
you.
hope I'm saying it. Yeah,
What do I
I
know?
know everything.
Anything else about keyboards specifically that you have to share?
Nope, not
Okay,
anything
sweet.
specific.
Well,
Yeah.
I was just going to touch on dictation quickly.
Ah,
Not
yes.
the old-fashioned kind where you speak out loud into a room and someone who makes way less money than you types out what you're telling them.
Mhm.
Although I suppose that if you have
That's what
someone
court
who will
reporters
do
do.
that for you, yeah, so
And
court
they actually
reporters
probably
do.
make more money than some of the people speaking. So,
That is true. So unless you're a court reporter or you have someone who will give you a good deal on that, you can actually use the dictation function on Microsoft Word and on Google Drive,
mm,
and probably other similar word processing softwares to speak, and it will transcribe your words into text, which
yep.
is excellent if you are trying to multitask, if you have perhaps a baby in your arms,
Hmm.
or if you're having a really hard time focusing, if you ever have one of those days where you're like, I just cannot seem to get into the flow of writing, it just feels like the words are grinding out. Sometimes I have noticed that for me, it helps to like sit back, close my eyes, hands off the keyboard. And because it feels like I don't have the pressure to write out words, I can just speak and
Hmm.
whatever I say will go on the page. And again, it's harder to edit. You can edit while, using dictation. You can be like backspace or delete, and you can add punctuation. Like you could be like, comma, this, and that, period. Sometimes I do that,
Stop.
sometimes I don't. Full
Like a
stop.
telegram.
Yeah, exactly. It does kind of feel like you're
Mm,
dictating a telegram. But sometimes that can help you kind of like get through, like if you're having a patch of just being tired, not motivated, you're trying to do too many things at once, your hands are busy, whether you're cooking and you want to write, or you're holding a child, or whatever else, or your hands are tired. Like if you just need to get not out of your head, but basically more into your head,
hmm.
not a bad way to do it. I've used it many times. I still do occasionally. It's usually what I use to get through a writer's block, like a little like shorter writer's block.
Yep.
But It's a function that we should all use more. It's there.
I
If you've
know.
not used it, I recommend using it just to see what it feels like.
My like worry with it is that someone will hear me and I will sound ridiculous.
Well,
So,
I mean, that's true.
yeah. There's no
So
way
maybe
around
this
that. You
is
just got to get over it.
maybe this is not one for public. Maybe stick to the folding keyboard for public. But if you're
Yeah.
like by yourself, like at home writing or in your room, there's definitely no reason not to
Yeah,
try
that's
it.
true. True. But yeah, so many different ways to write. What must it have been like to write when like you only had notebooks or
I don't
like
think that they knew any
papyrus
different.
sheets?
Papyrus.
That's true.
That's true. I
So
don't
you had to
know.
carve it in, and it's
Oh
like
God, it's
definitely
stressful.
losing my train of thought then.
Absolutely no room for errors.
Yeah.
Right, Riley? Anyways, he brings up a good point. Do we have anything else that we want to say about all the clackety clacks, or do we want to move into writing updates?
I think we're done with the clackety clacks. So
Cool.
writing
Writing
updates.
updates.
Ooh, upside down baby. Not quite upside
Upside
down.
down
Sideways
baby.
baby.
Sideways. We can go upside down. He thinks it's funny.
Well, he's right.
Yeah, he's right. It's funny. Haha, baby butt. All right. Do you have any writing updates? Well, obviously you do because you finished another book.
I do. I did. I'm very excited about it. Um, I'm getting to this point now, you know, like that feeling when you finish a book and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm on a high. This is so amazing. Like, I'm so excited about it. Honestly, the more books I write, the less I get that feeling. And I kind of think I understand how drug addicts feel
What?
because that, like, you know, they say the first hit is the best, and then you just spend the rest of your life chasing that high. That's sort of what I
Ah,
feel like is happening. Am I addicted? I don't know. Can you be addicted? I think the definition of an addiction is just something you obsessively do that negatively impacts your life. And I'm not saying I'm not addicted. So anyway, this might be a
that's
problem.
hilarious.
Who knows? But I needed, well, okay, so as I'm writing through the first draft, I usually take notes on things I know I need to go back to change, but I don't want to do it right now. And I
Yeah.
had very few of those, which was very fun because then my initial edit afterwards took me like 2 hours. I just read through it and corrected some words here and there. And so now I'm
Wow.
letting it rest and I'm very excited about it and it's pretty cool. And interestingly enough, so like my main character kind of I visualize her as a young Jane the Virgin. That's like what she kind of looks
Oh,
like in my head. So
fun.
it's funny that you mentioned her earlier.
Yeah.
Gina Rodriguez, right?
Yeah.
Her. So that was fun. And yeah, I was kind of mad at myself. They so there's this website called Savvy Authors and they do a pitch
Yes.
fest twice a year and I missed it because it was this
Oh,
last week and I was so into writing that I like wasn't checking my email or like noticing. I
yeah.
thought to myself on the 14th, like you need to do this tomorrow. Tomorrow's the last day. And the last day like came and went and I totally didn't notice until today.
Yeah.
So I was disappointed in that. But I I'm like my brain is already like, let's write a new book. And I'm like, that sounds great. But also, I need to read, and also I should probably query so that I'm not just writing into the void for the
Yeah.
rest of my life.
Oh my
Um,
goodness. That's so
so
funny.
I'm gonna hopefully try to brainstorm slowly so that I have time to do other things like of that sort.
I have the
So
opposite problem. I'm like, I just want to
yeah,
query, keep querying, keep querying. And I have
yeah.
nothing new to query.
I mean, I am like mentally so sound right now in the fact that I can go into my email without fearing there's going to be a rejection.
Oh my
Because
God.
for so long, it was just like every time I went in, rejection, rejection. I'm like, I have to mentally prepare to check my email.
But
But
funny.
now
I
I don't have to
thrive
do
on the
that.
danger.
I
I
know,
live
I
on it.
don't. So I
Oh,
just
that's
have to
funny.
get mentally ready to start querying again. And I'm thinking like, because you can query more than one book at a time, just like
Yeah.
not to the same agent. And I
Yeah.
think probably not to the same agency, but I can do that. So I'm like, okay, maybe I need to pick two or three of my other books that I have and get them ready and just start querying them, even though most of them feel like not debut worthy novels, like it just, there's something in them that I'm like, this is a little weird, or I don't know if this first chapter is going to be as strong as, maybe a
Yeah.
different first chapter. But I'm like, why not just take the risk and send them out? Because like literally nothing bad is going to happen if I do.
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to try to be a little more risky and risk taking, and that's not my forte. So we'll see how that goes. But
Good.
maybe it'll pay off.
I think that's a
So
great idea.
yeah.
I love
So
that.
so you've read My Lord of the Flies and you read
Yes.
Weatherwax.
Yes.
So I think those are all you've read. So I know you have a lot to do, but I should send it to you now so
You
that you
should
have
still send
time.
it to me. Yes.
Exactly. So I might be doing that. I'll send you like I was thinking about sending you little teasers for each of them, like which one do you want to read?
Oh my God. Like the back jacket,
So,
like I can just order
yeah.
one of your books. Oh my God.
Yes.
I love that.
And it'll help
That's
me
so
practice for
funny.
the query letter for all of them. And then also you can pick
So
the one that you're
down.
more likely to read. So I might do that soon.
100%. You should.
Yes.
That's so exciting.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. It'll force me to like remember all of my but older books as in 2 years ago, which seems
Wow,
crazy long and
so
also crazy
old.
short.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
So anyway, I was very pleased.
As you should be.
I know I had my meeting with my supervisor today, and we're all editors, and she was just like, let's like catch up, like what's going on in your life? What'd you do this weekend? And I'm like, I finished my book. And so she was asking me about like, some of the terminology from my books, and I actually told her, which is not something I'm just like, oh, I don't want to talk about it. It's just weird. But
Yeah.
I actually talked about it with her a little bit, so that was fun. Uh,
Nice.
so I don't know. I'm in a very like positive place with all of it because there has not been rejection for a while. So,
That's
yeah,
so funny. Rejection is just a step forward.
it is, but it's a painful one. It's
I
like
must
walking
say,
on a
yeah.
broken leg.
I was
You are
about to say,
walking,
like walking
but
on briars, but yeah, sure,
yeah,
walking on a broken leg feels a little
yeah,
more dramatic. I like
yeah.
it.
Thank you. How
Yeah.
is your writing? I mean, have you been free writing all over the place?
I have been fold up typewriting as much
Mm,
as not as much as I can. I'm sure there's more times that I could have than I haven't. But I've
mm,
been trying to on the days or times when I'm like I don't have the energy to pull out my little fold open keyboard. I have a notebook, back to the notebooks, and I'll put down
hmm.
ideas. And so I do
Yeah.
have a lot of ideas for it because it's a thriller. So when I listen to my true crime podcast or if I'm watching TV and I think of an idea, I go get my notebook and I write it down. And
Hmm.
it's part of this idea I have to try and write like individual scenes and then string them together, which is
Hmm.
just a way of writing that I've never really done. So now I have some things that I can build some scenes around. So that's exciting.
Right.
I've got the first 4 chapters. And now I have one page of my notebook full of ideas basically for like clues and red herrings and stuff like that.
Hmm.
So I'm like, okay,
Cool.
now I need to find a way to work this in. And so
Yeah.
now I can start writing like individual scenes and then popping them into the story. So
Cool.
progress. I'm still making progress. Not nearly as fast as you are, but I am, and
Yeah.
I'm still liking the story a lot. So that's good.
Yay.
My
No,
child,
that's
my
good.
5.5-month-old child, is basically standing on his own right now, which is terrifying. I'm
He's
just
so
barely like
big.
balancing him. That's so scary.
He's
That's
like, I'm ready for
terrifying.
this. Let go.
Yeah, I know. He really thinks he is, and he can almost sit up on his own. Anyways, those are Riley's accomplishments, not
Ah,
writing ones, but Riley's
they're pretty
also
big.
making, yeah, pretty big accomplishments. He just screamed and burped, so that's one too, I
Life is
guess.
good.
Life is good, yeah. But yeah, that's basically my writing update. So I'm trying to keep moving,
Cool.
even if all I'm doing for a day is, writing down ideas
Hmm.
or, little plot points of things that can happen. I'm moving, I'm
Yep.
keeping moving.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, that is really helpful. Like, I will say, so back to my monotonous job thing, I find that writer's block has really not been as much of a problem lately. But if I do get writer's block, it's because I have some kind of like, yeah, like there's supposed to be a puzzle here, there's supposed to be a red herring here, and I'm like, I don't know what it's supposed to be, so I just have to come up with it on the fly. So it's really
yeah,
good to have like a list of things available that you can
yeah,
kind of pick from and
yep,
say, okay, let's just pull that in and keep writing. So
yes,
yeah.
exactly, exactly. So, that's what I'm utilizing, and it's working well. So
Mhm.
far so good for the new plan to, try and write with a little human puppy. That's you. You're the human puppy.
Me?
Human
I'm just a
gremlin, it's fine.
human. Actually, I'm a dragon, so.
Yeah, you are. Are you growling like a dragon? He's like, I'm getting impatient like a dragon. I'm gonna burn everything down, Mom. I'm gonna burn down this house.
Give me treasure. Yeah, you want treasure. See, there it is.
He's like, I want to eat the microphone. Say hello, everybody. He's like, I'm sucking on the microphone, doing my best.
So close.
Yep. Anyways, that's all that Bubba and I've got for writing updates and little life updates.
Cool.
Anything else that you want to share with peeps?
Nope.
All
That's
right.
it.
Well, if you people out there enjoyed this episode, and or we mentioned your favorite clickety clack form of clickety clacking, please leave us a review. 5 stars is always welcome. And anything else that you want to say about the pod. If you have something that you want us to talk about on the pod, a theme perhaps, you guys can always send those to us on social media or over email at contact@storysirenstudio.com. That's our production company. You can also go to that website for merch and for other ways to support the pod. However, if you guys don't follow us on social media, you should. That is Instagram and Scripturient Society, the Scripturient Society on Instagram, and on TikTok where there's funny videos, and Instagram where there's fun little helpful hints and motivating what haves you have
Have
yous
yous?
have
Have,
yous.
have
Where
yous?
is the plural on that? Is it haves you or have yous? Probably
It's
have yous.
have yous. That sounds better.
Yeah.
Who knows?
What have yous on the Instagram. So
Hmm.
if we use the wrong version, the wrong plural of that, also please reach out. We would love to hear from you.
Let us know.
Yeah, let us know. If you guys want to join the writing group and tell us what you're doing, you can definitely do that. The link to our writing group on Discord is below in the episode description. And that is all I have for you, unless I'm forgetting something, which I might be, but that's okay. Maybe I'll remember it next time. So until next week, keep writing.
And we'll see you on the next page.